This is what I come up with.
And pull the trigger that killed your son, masturbates to memory.
How much time passes, I'm gonna live with that in my heart every day.
He committed another shooting a month before this murder, and he's shown zero remorse.
Courts are usually serious places where legal matters are settled, but sometimes they become stages for something truly surprising. Beyond the usual talks and arguments, there's a whole world of unexpected moments that show how people react when they're under pressure. These crazy moments capture the real emotions people have when they're facing the law. So stay tuned and let's step into a world where things are stranger than fiction, where strong feelings meet the law, and where courtrooms become the place for incredible stories. Number 1. Jaleel Smith Riley. This is the case of Jaleel Smith Riley, a man facing murder charges in Michigan. Smith Riley was part of an armed robbery that took place on November 16, 2013 in Norwood. Alongside 2 other men, he approached a parked car occupied by 20-year-old Portia Brooks and her boyfriend Aaron Martin. Smith Riley used a handgun to knock on the car window, forcing Martin out of the passenger seat. Jaleel then rifled through Aaron's pockets, demanding money. After taking all the cash Aaron had, Smith Riley fatally shot him in the head, causing permanent brain damage. Shockingly, his violence didn't stop there. He then leaned into the car and fired at Brooks, who was inside, hitting her twice. She tragically passed away 3 days later. Miraculously, Aaron survived the attack but suffered severe injuries. At the sentencing hearing, Portia's family expressed their heartbreak. Sharon Brooks, Portia's mother, carried her daughter's ashes to the courtroom, symbolizing the immense loss. She condemned Smith Riley for robbing her of her identity as a mother and leaving her with nothing but emptiness.
This is what I have left because of his greed, his selfishness, his complete disregard of and disrespect of others and life.
Tia Marie Brooks, Portia's sister, emotionally requested the maximum penalty, a portion of life without parole for Smith Riley.
I have to deal with life without Portia, so he should deal with life without parole.
Aaron, the survivor, addressed the court, speaking of Portia as their angel who watches over them.
She's still here with us, and she will always be here. So she's our angel looking over us, helping us get through these hard times.
Smith Riley's reaction to his sentencing was even more shocking. Initially pleading guilty to aggravated murder and attempted murder, he later withdrew his guilty plea against his lawyer's advice. This move reintroduced the possibility of the death penalty. Smith Riley's apology in court and his attorney's efforts couldn't change the outcome. Judge Charles Kubicki, presiding over the case, denied Smith Riley's request for a reduced sentence and sentenced him to life in prison without the chance of parole. The 23-year-old collapsed upon hearing his sentence, also receiving an extra 11-year sentence for another attempted murder charge. Number 2. TJ Lane. Now we delve into the unsettling incident involving TJ Lane, a convicted American murderer who perpetrated a horrifying act at Chardon High School in Ohio on February 27, 2012. This is TJ Lane, who faces charges for multiple murders in Ohio. He gained infamy as a convicted murderer due to his heinous actions at Chardon High School. The Ohio Police Department swiftly responded to numerous distress calls from both teachers and students, alerting them to an active shooter within the school premises. According to official reports, Lane entered the school building and made his way to the cafeteria. It was here that TJ Lane opened fire, tragically ending the lives of 3 students and inflicting severe injuries on 3 others. While 6 individuals suffered physical harm at the hands of TJ Lane that fateful day, the emotional scars left on hundreds, if not thousands, who were present at Chardon High School on February 27, 2012 are everlasting. The chaotic scene, friends strewn across the area, blood, terrified screams, everyone fleeing in different directions, while the harrowing image of a fellow student aiming a gun at his peers remains indelible. The gunman's expression isn't etched into memory, only the sight of the firearm lingers, a reminder of the profound terror. Lane's reprehensible actions reverberated through the community, leaving a trail of shock and sorrow in their wake. Following his swift capture, Lane faced charges including 3 counts of aggravated murder, 2 counts of attempted aggravated murder, and 1 count of felonious assault. Adding to the horror of the crimes committed, Lane exhibited an utter lack of remorse during the trial and even rebuffed his legal counsel's attempts at cooperation. His appearance in court wearing a t-shirt emblazoned with the word killer and a defiant gesture towards the victims' families further underscored his callousness. The trial's sentencing phase saw Lane deliver a chilling statement. To pull the trigger, the killer's done. You know, master, basic memory. This remark sparked outrage and revulsion, not only among the victims' families, but across the entire nation. Judge David Fury, who presided over the case, minced no words in describing Lane's actions as vile, unprovoked, and devoid of any semblance of reason. Consequently, Lane received a sentence of 3 life terms in prison without the possibility of parole. Remarkably, Lane displayed no discernible reaction when the sentence was handed down, maintaining his emotionless and remorseless demeanor. His behavior and responses to the proceedings bore an uncanny resemblance to those of a psychopath. However, not all convicts respond to their sentences with such cold detachment, as evidenced by the case of Ryan Stone. Number 3. Ryan Stone. This is Ryan Stone, facing charges for a nationwide crime spree involving kidnapping and assault, all broadcasted live by helicopters. The chaos began when Stone hijacked a car with a 4-year-old boy, initiating a dangerous hour-long police chase. Recklessly driving up to 100 miles per hour, Stone overtook vehicles and forced innocent people out of cars. He crashed into multiple vehicles, causing injuries, and narrowly missed hitting a policeman placing stop sticks. Eventually crashing the stolen car, Stone was captured, but his audacity didn't stop there. In a holding cell, Stone bragged to a friend about making international news and becoming a viral sensation. He believed he deserved compensation for his car chase footage being used by news channels.
Hey, did you know I made the news in the UK and Australia? What? Yeah, my lawyer told me I made the news in the UK and Australia. If you type in Grand Theft Auto on YouTube, my shit comes up first.
Charged with 26 crimes, including kidnapping, vehicle theft, and assault, Stone's victims and their families expressed the impact of his actions during emotional sentencing hearing. Stone shed tears, expressed remorse, and apologized to his victims, contrasting with his earlier boastful behavior. Despite his apology, the judge remained unmoved, citing Stone's criminal pattern and threat to society. Stone pled guilty to all charges and received a maximum sentence of 160 years in prison without parole. While he blamed drugs and showed remorse, the severity of his sentence left him in tears. Number 4. Kayla Mendoza. Now we shift our focus to another tragic incident involving Kayla Mendoza in Florida. This is Kayla Mendoza, who's facing charges of double manslaughter and other offenses in Florida. At the age of 20, Mendoza, without a driver's license, was responsible for the deaths of 2 women due to drunk driving in Fort Lauderdale on November 17, 2013. Prior to the fatal crash, Mendoza consumed 2 fishbowl margaritas at a local bar after an outing with colleagues and her manager. Later that night, she got into a Hyundai Sonata and drove the wrong way down the Sawgrass Expressway. Speeding at over 80 miles an hour in the opposite direction, Mendoza's recklessness resulted in a head-on collision with another vehicle, claiming the lives of 2 young women, Marissa Catrono and Caitlin Ferrante, both only 21 years old. Mendoza faced multiple charges, including DUI manslaughter while impaired, DUI manslaughter with an unlawful blood alcohol level, vehicular homicide, and driving without a license causing death. Her then-boyfriend owned the car involved in the crash and clarified that her infamous "too drunk to care" tweet was directed at him due to his discomfort with her hanging out and drinking.
"Too drunk to care" tweet was for my boyfriend because he was upset I was out, hanging out with them and with Marcelo drinking because he wanted me to be home.
In response to the tragedy, the families of Ferrante and Catrono filed lawsuits against Mendoza, her boyfriend, the T-Mobile store of her employment, and the Tijuana taxi company. After pleading guilty to 2 DUI manslaughter charges, Mendoza was sentenced to 24 years in prison on May 24, 2015. Throughout the trial, Mendoza displayed remorse and offered apologies. Her emotions intensified upon hearing her sentence. She tearfully expressed, "How much time passes? I'm gonna live with that in my heart every day."
How much time passes, I'm gonna live with that in my heart every day.
Alongside her prison term, Mendoza would serve 6 years of probation and be permanently banned from driving. Mendoza's remorse hinted at the possibility of redemption, a sentiment that starkly contrasts with the case of Adrian Dunn. Number 5. Adrian Dunn. This is Adrian Dunn, who's in trouble for murder in San Antonio. He's an ex-convict found guilty of killing Rakeem Tariq Charles. What makes it worse is that this wasn't the first time Adrian got into trouble. He'd been to prison twice before for having a gun. Just a month before this murder, Adrian was involved in another shooting, and he didn't seem to feel sorry at all. The lawyers really wanted to give Adrian the worst possible punishment. They said he had done many bad things before and didn't show any sadness for killing someone. One of the lawyers, Jason Goss, even held the victim's parents' hands while talking to the jury. He said they should give Adrian a life sentence to stop another family from suffering as Charles's family did. The mom has to feel pain, and the family has to feel pain because of what the man did. That's why we're asking you to give him a life sentence. If you thought the crimes were terrible, wait until you hear how Adrian behaved when he heard his punishment. During the trial, Adrian didn't show any sadness and acted like he didn't care at all. He was found guilty, but his lawyer said he should get 35 to 40 years in prison instead. The lawyer's idea was to keep Adrian away from prison for a long time so that he could maybe become better and help the community if he ever got out. However, the jury didn't take long to decide. They talked for only 2 hours and then said Adrian should spend his whole life in prison. When they said this, Adrian started fighting with the sheriff's deputies, who were trying to take him out of the courtroom. He was shouting and causing trouble. Eventually, they managed to get him under control and out of the room. So thanks for watching the video. If you want to see more videos like this one, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. And don't forget to ring that bell. That's it for today. See you next time.